Thank you. And in commemoration of the 4th anniversary of John Lewis's death, there is a national mobilization around the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. And we will put in the chat later on during the course of this event the information to sign up to attend a virtual event honoring John Lewis. As I was saying, John Lewis was one of my colleagues. He was the chair of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, one of the early chairs. He was the last of the chairs of what I call the integrationist phase of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, but he continued his work for voter registration beyond that and into becoming a congressman and ultimately to his death. So we will remember him as we look at the issue of reparations, and indeed it gives meaning to many of us who ask, for what do we have to register and vote, if not for candidates, certainly for issues. Last, for the Juneteenth town hall, we were fortunate to have with us Brother Cam Howard, the founder and director of Reparations United, which is an effort to mediate the differing perspectives on reparations that we are experiencing both nationally and globally. He talked about the state of reparations movement in the United States and the rising resistance, particularly litigation by so-called Justice Watch, right-wing public interest law firm, which has sued the city of Evanston to end the housing repair reparations program that it initiated about 2 years ago. And that program was for persons harmed by the redlining, the segregation or apartheid system in the city of Evanston, to receive $25,000 to at first be used for housing benefits, whether they wanted to repair their homes, buy a home. But it has since that time been unrestricted, and folk can do whatever they choose to do with it. So people are very anxious to see what is ultimately going to wind up happening as a result of that litigation. We were also on the Juneteenth town hall meeting. Make Juneteenth count was our theme. We're able to have representatives from the Boston People's Reparation Commission, and they talked about their process of formation and where they are in holding the city of Boston and the mayor's hand-picked reparations task force, holding it accountable to the Boston community. Tonight, we're fortunate to have with us Sister Aziza Goodnight, also known as Empress Aziza Ali, who is an avid artist, activist, entrepreneur, community organizer, and dance mom. She is a woman committed to shaping and re-energizing and creating systemic, sustainable changes in her native Boston and beyond. According to Aziza, communities need artists and could not survive without a creative perspective. She believes creative individuals are the essence of a thriving community, and it always takes artist to see the beauty and endless possibilities of a neighborhood. And frankly, I'm quite inclined to agree with her. Before we start, if we could do a quick round of introductions, our name, pronouns if we like, where we are, where we're calling from, and what brought us to the town hall meeting tonight. So we'll start.
I can start. Oh,
please.
Okay. Hi, my name is Naomi Johnson. I live in Florida. I heard about this call through Equal Ground from our Florida call that we have. And I'm a member of the national, I'll just say NAACP in Florida and an educator. Thanks. Happy to be here.
Wonderful. Next.
My name's Jean Juarez. I live in Chicago, Illinois. So I'm right next to Evanston, and I was aware of the reparations that were supposed to start happening in my neighboring area. I am a brown person who supports all people who are marginalized, all people of color, and John Lewis is one of my heroes.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Next.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did we have someone else?
All right, I'm Eva Keith, a member of Ubuntu Institute for Community Development in Spartanburg, South Carolina.
I'm Dorcas Abercrombie
from Marietta, Georgia.
Dorcas Abercrombie from Greenville, South Carolina. Got an email about the meeting tonight. Glad to be here.
Wonderful. Glad to have you.
Eloise Hearns from Marietta, Georgia. I had an invitation to join this meeting, and I am a lifetimer with NAACP, and glad to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Anyone else? Okay.
I'm Teju Rice in Greenville, South Carolina with the Malcolm X Center for Self-Determination and part of the Reparations Coalition. Thank you everybody for joining.
Okay, moving right along. Sister Empress Aziza Ali, do you have a preference as to whether or not whether you're referred to as Empress?
Aziza is fine.
Okay. Is a member and founder of the Repair America Collective, which has a 4-pillar approach towards reparative planning that includes learning, sharing, healing, and celebrating. In each area, they've developed reparatory plans that allow them to identify and employ holistic models of repair through community engagement. These reparative plans are based on 7 points that intersect, and they are art, culture, health, environment, community, policy, and research. I believe that that is embodied in what she calls the zine, which brings us here tonight, and that is, where is our 40 acres and a mule? I give the floor to Sister Aziza Goodnight.
Thank you, Mama Fia. Thank you for everybody who's here. I'm glad you found that bio. Thank you for that. I was late in sending you that. So yes, we're here because one, yes, I am a mom. I am a community activist and organizer. I'm also an educator. I'm a researcher, and I just have committed the rest of my life work to the reparations field. And I am a reparationist. I've been able to serve on the executive board of the NAACP here in Boston as the AXA chair in 2008, yes, for 4 years. I've been able to just do lots of work in community that the base of my work has been focused on art, culture, and history. So in that work, I've been able to hold a position as the chair of the Frederick Douglass Sculpture Project here in Boston, a sculpture that we're going to get here in Boston, a bronze sculpture of an image of Frederick Douglass, because preserving the legacies of us is super important as well. I also I met Mama Thea because I'm a national reparationist as well. I've been doing the work for the past 5 years and really love it. It's hard, it's wonderful, and I saw the need as I was doing the work through New Democracy Coalition. New Democracy Coalition is the nonprofit that brought about the People's Reparations Commission. So I am the commissioner. I'm one of the founding commissioners in that group. And I continue to do the work with all the groups that do it here in Boston. But Repair America Collective, what we saw was the gap in being able to raise the consciousness on a mass scale and educating the ground. So we created the zines. Teju, do you mind sharing that screen? And this is what they look like in hand. Sorry, I have blurry vision, right? Blurry background right now, but when you share the screen, you'll get a clearer image of it. So this here is one of our part of our conscious raising campaign. Slow down a bit. It's designed to be able to educate, be able to be used by different organizations, by different individuals, people and their family. This is my wonderful daughter. It is that time of day. That you can just use as a workbook that allows for folks to gain a greater understanding of what reparations actually means for them. So it starts off that first page, that page you just passed. It just says, what is reparations? And that is, what is reparations according to the UN? And this was a 9-month process. I'm gonna say that first. This zine came about by a collective mindset, multiple editing, and a wonderful graphic designer. Her name is Destiny Polk. She is a radical Black girl, and she is out of Houston. She's from Boston, but right now she's out of Houston, Texas. So she did all the graphics for this. She's also been a co-producer on one of our main programs that we also do. And I'll talk about that later, but we'll go through the zine as the main focus of a tool that we created. Like I said, it took us 9 months. It wasn't something we just threw together. So the first part is, what is reparations according to the United Nations? And then you can keep scrolling. And then we make it interactive and creative, so it's engaging to folks, so they can sort of see themselves in the movement as well. And you can keep scrolling. And so that this is a continuation of what reparations is. And it's in, so you can keep scrolling because this whole book actually explains what reparations is. And we can go through that. But yes, you can keep scrolling, please. So what reparations is according to the United Nations, there are 5 conditions. So in the 5 conditions, we have this one page here that gives all 5 of those conditions. And then you can keep scrolling. And then here is where we can start the work. So each page after that list
It is. Oh, I wasn't in far enough.
every page after that page has an actual it's like a workbook. So we'll go over the first one. What is cessation, assurance, and guarantees of non-repetition? And it gives the definition. Under international law, a state responsible for wrongfully injuring a people is under an obligation to cease the act if it's continuing, and B, offer appropriate assurances and guarantees of non-repetition. So after that, we put guiding questions. What harmful acts have the federal and state government enacted against enslaved Africans and descendants of American freedmen? So maybe we should sort of try this amongst each other. If you were answering that question for yourself, how would you answer it? Would anybody like to volunteer to answer that question? No.
Jim Crow laws.
Jim Crow laws, yeah. And so with that, what dehumanizing acts, legislation, systems still exist that need to cease and require a guarantee of non-repetition? Those are things. Sorry, Mama Thea, you're on mute.
Thank you. The Jim Crow laws are still in effect, even though that's they've been declared unconstitutional. They operate in what is called de facto conditions, and we see it most glaringly today in the form of so-called gentrification, or what I call cannibalization of our neighborhoods.
Yes, definitely. So that gives us a little view of how you would use this amongst each other. So you get what reparations is, one of the 5 conditions, and then the guiding question. And as you go through the book, and you can scroll. You have more of these questions, guiding questions, and even food for thought. So and so what Mama Fia is considering is printing some of these so that you guys can actually use them within or amongst each other in South Carolina, and also with community, because it's just a workbook. It allows for people to do the internal thinking about what it is. So for example, the one you have up now, that is satisfaction. Satisfaction is a part of full reparations under international law for moral damage, such as emotional injury, mental suffering, and injury to reputation. In some instances, where cessation, restitution, and compensation do not bring full repair, satisfaction is also needed. Apology falls under the reparatory category of satisfaction. So the guiding question is, what emotional injury or mental suffering have you or your family or bloodline suffered from by state or an individual or institution? So those are the sort of questions and guiding questions that we have in here that allows for people to directly identify the direct harm, and then consider what would satisfy that. What is the repair for that as well? And you can scroll to the last page. And then there's your turn. So we've left space open for folks to write down their thoughts. In your own words, write down what reparations means to you, given the 5 processes that you now know. And then we ask folks on the next page to brainstorm below. What will it take to repair the harm for you? So after going through the process of understanding, and folks can go through it over and over, now it's time to brainstorm, like what would that repair look like? Because that's what we've seen is one of the hardest things for folks to actually imagine in this movement is actual repair. Like we can talk about reparations all day, all night, but as we are galvanizing the ground and taking it down to simpler understanding so folks can grasp it, we have to sort of help people visualize repair. And so also in this book, what we do, all of our work is descendant-based work so that we can build a strong model that can work for any other place around, any other tribe, any other person that looks like an American freeman around the world. So what would that model look like in Haiti? What would that model look like in Dominican Republic? What would that model look like in Kenya? What would it look like around the world? But so we focus right now for right now, we focus on conscious raising and a model that is descendant based. Are there any questions?
Well, I'm going to take moderator's privilege, and I'm going to ask you. We understand that some of the town hall meetings that you all did in Boston, you had significant numbers of participants. Would you say that participation came as a result of using the booklet to help people to formulate, or did the booklet come after the town hall meetings?
The booklet came before, but I don't credit the booklet to that grow, that swell. I credit the swell to the constant conscious raising. So there's multiple things. So we as Repair America Collective, we just provide tools, spaces, and trainings. The commission is the actual people's body led by Heather Cook and Edwin Sumter. And then Kevin Peterson as well. We at every meeting, we do have not the zines, but we do have our palm cards. We have palm cards that say what are reparations and the basic information for what is reparations and the five forms of reparations as well. So this we had for the last 2.5 years, these palm cards. The zine came in, it was birthed before the town halls, but we haven't even been able to mass distribute because we were going to do a training specifically for commissioners. So there's like 100 commissioners right now. So a training specifically for commissioners to have the basic understanding and then build out. So one of the things we also have, because we built out a pop-up hub called the Heritage Hub, where we launched our zine, and we have 4-foot tall pages of this zine where we allow folks to collectively interact with this as well. So now that, we see that there's an interest, people are understanding, the conscious raising has happened, we can now do larger events like the Heritage Hub, where we welcome people in to just go through that journey of repair. Like, because the town halls, they give a certain level of space for people to speak about reparation or speak about, the harm that's done, but it also, there needs to be a space where people can sort of gain understanding and be creative in their thinking around repair.
How did you get 100 commissioners?
So Edwin Sumter, and I credit Edwin Sumter and Heather Cook, who are the directors of the commission. I'm just a commissioner. I sit at the table, I listen, I absorb. And this is because through Democracy Coalition, I was their first project director for reparations campaign. So this iteration of the commission, I credit that to Edwin and Heather. and their consistency in having commission meetings. They weren't all town halls, but they consistently had commissioner meetings where that's how we built to 100.
And was it open to the public, or were they picked persons?
They're all open to the public and people self-identify.
Uh-huh.
So the People's Body Commission is modeled a lot like the South Carolina Asheville. Asheville. So Rob came to Boston and he did meet with the internal group. There's about 7 of them that in the internal group. I'm not in the internal group of the commission. I focus on, building the tools. I focus on, we can't all be everywhere at one time. And Boston's an active playing field when it comes to reparations. There's a lot of shifts and changes going on, like every second. Right now, they had just put out an application for a project director for the task force. They've hired researchers for the task force. So there's a lot of moving parts. A whole lot of moving parts, but that People's Body Commission is a beautiful display of people actually showing up to say this is necessary.
Would you talk about the Repair America Collective and your use of the term freedmen?
Yes, so we focus on I am an American freedman. Most of our internal team are American freedmen, and we saw it so in Boston, we are a sanctuary city. So we are a city where there is a facing of erasure to a certain population. So focusing on American freedmen, which is like a large population of people who have claim to a certain thing. So the American Freedmen Bank, the American Freedmen Act, these legal things that were set in place a while back. So we focused our model on how we can, save a descendant community. And how can we bring everybody together to focus on a descendant-based model that can be used in any other place?
Is that based on a theory of eligibility based on legacy as opposed to race?
Well, we've seen how complicated it gets as we try to figure out it amongst multiple groups. So we decided to focus so that we can serve, everybody. So we whittle down to American freedmen. And when we say American freedmen, we talk about Black Americans that are surviving descendants of chattel slavery in the United States. Also a group that is facing erasure in this country. And so as we see that happening here in Boston, we decided to create that as our focus. It won't always be our focus, but we see the need for it.
I'll open the floor at this point for any of you to ask questions or make comments.
I have a question.
Please.
Yeah, I live here in Greenville, and my question is, I thought you asked a good question about how would reparations look in a community. Well, our community, which is the Laurel Creek community, it was established over 152 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And but now people the elders have died off, and the children, have sold their land and stuff. And so now a lot of the land is being it's been sold to developers. And the most recent thing now is that they're across the street from us. They're putting in 450 homes, So this
Wow.
place that was all just trees and, you know, deer and all kind of animals, you know, now they're all, you know, scattered, you know, throughout the community. But so, you know, I was thinking, you know, at one point I was thinking, you know, what could help the community. And one thing, you know, we used to have white boys that would come in the neighborhood and knock people's mailboxes over and stuff like that. So I was thinking, well, mailboxes would be good. We had asked for stop signs. Stuff took 30 years. Cable took 10 years to get here. But now with the community, people, white people are moving into the community, buying up the land, you know, building, you know, 2 and 3 story homes. And so now it's changing from a Black community to well, I'll say a mixed community. So, you know, in that case, you know, I don't know, you know, you had just mentioned about trying to save the community, but it just, you know, this is terrible. You know, it used to be, you know, off the main street, which was Lawrence Road. When you turned, you know, onto our coming into our community, you could feel the temperature drop because of all the trees and stuff. So it was cool. But now it's just like, you know, like what Afia was saying, the cannibalism in the community. And, you know, I don't know, you know, we have a neighborhood association and, you know, we talk about what we can do, but there's nothing, I don't know what to do. And people, you know, people are moving out and, you know, I mean, it's just a matter of time. You know, we need our roads they were paved in 1950 something, and they have no intention of improving the roads. We asked that we have no sidewalks. We don't have anything. And, you know, that's the way it is. And one lady in particular, she's drinking well water and she's surrounded by Malden and Greenville, and they won't put water, you know, they won't connect city water to her home. But
How often do you all have neighborhood association meetings?
we have them once a month, but we're not having it. We're supposed to have it this Saturday, but the president said no, because I guess it's because it's so hot and stuff. And we usually don't meet in the summer, but we had a meeting last month. But you know, it's just like you can see the community disappearing. So I don't know how reparations can help our community, because I feel like our community is dying. So I just wanted to share that.
And
I'll follow up with you. I'll be
Okay,
in touch with you. I'll follow up. Go ahead, Aziza.
So that is the reason why I'm a reparationist. Like that is the reason why I'm a reparationist, because that is the consistent conversation. And when I talk about American freedmen, it's mostly American freedmen that are having this facing erasure moment. And I feel like reparations, because it's holistic, if we look at it as the 5 harm areas that NCOBRA like outlines, you know, health repair, I talk about it as repair instead of harm, health repair, wealth repair, education repair, justice repair, and personhood repair. All those things encompass what we are going through. I think our asks are too small. And this is why we're facing, like, we ask for the simple thing, but we're not asking for, like, where's our 40 acres and a mule? Like, where is the wealth? And we just came back from Tulsa, and that was like, it was, my eyes were already open, but like learning about the economic infrastructure of Tulsa gave me so much hope. It was the only like thriving system that was not built off capitalism, was built off purely off cooperative economics. It's the things that we need to get back to. Like, if we had what we're owed, it's not like we're begging for something. It's not not like it's a debt that's owed, then we would be able to rebuild our own infrastructures, influence our politicians, have AC, have a place where there's AC so that you can continue to do your neighborhood association meetings in the summer as well, because the work does not stop. It doesn't matter if it's hot outside, cold outside, there's a tornado, a new president, it does not matter. We still have to be able to save ourselves. So like the fight for reparations and mostly the reason why like I'm like this is like I can't see anything else, because it all fits in one bubble when you talk about reparations. Like everything, like there's nothing else. Reparations, like the solution is repair. But also, as we do fight for that, we have to be able to understand the system that we are not fighting, but we have to play the chess for the game. So when we talk about lineage-based reparations, we have specific claims to land, to environmental injustices. You say 400 houses are being built. That's environmental injustice. That's disrupting the ecosystem. That's creating a heat island. Like there's all these things. You have all these tree advocates. You get these tree advocates can stop the world. You get tree advocates on it and have them talking about reparations and trees and how it's so important to the environment. It's just about building that, I call it that gang, that group of experts that knows the things that you don't have to think about. But these zines are built to educate the ground, because we're there. The groundswell is moving around the nation. Like we actually have an opportunity to give this ass with this presidential election. We can complain about everything. The squeaky wheel gets the oil when it comes to politics. And we should, because we're owed a debt. And if that debt was paid, then we'd be able to fix our own systems. We beat Tulsa all over again.
Oh, Jesus.
I hope that gave you some hope.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Would someone else like to share about have other questions or share about what's going on in your particular area?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
This is Eva. Okay, there I am. How often did you meet in the community, Sister Aziza?
I'm never out of the community. When I'm outside, I'm in the community. I carry around palm cards. If you're talking, so for Repair America Collective, we're constantly nonstop. Like we're nonstop. We intentionally make it to like during Juneteenth, we do intentional activations where we can at least touch over 1,000 people at one time. But and if you're talking about the commission met monthly. That's separate from the work we do, but we're constantly out. I have the zines and palm cards in my car. So if I see a group of people or event or something, I'm passing out flyers. I'm making sure the consciousness is raised. We also have a banner that we're going to put up, a Warriors of 40 Acres A Mule banner, so people can continuously see it as they drive by. We believe it takes 5 touches to really like get people to pay attention. So you have to figure out in different ways, how can you touch folks? So I talked about a banner. We use that banner in every parade we're in. We also have the zines. We also have the palm cards. We have our Heritage Hub, and we do constant activations.
So there are no regularly scheduled meetings in the communities, you're saying. Is that correct?
So the commission has scheduled meetings. So the commission had monthly scheduled meetings, and then there was a large town hall, and they just recently did a like a fireside chat.
A fireside chat in the community? Is that
in the park? Right in the park.
In the park.
Yeah.
So was this scheduled or just a pop-up meeting?
Scheduled. Everything the commission does is scheduled.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
The commission, excuse me, the commission has been in existence for how long?
I believe a year now.
Okay, and it has organizational membership as well as individual.
Yes, so there's an internal team. I believe it's like 7 folks.
Uh-huh.
And then there's commissioners. So I'm a commissioner. There's 100 commissioners. Um, I am a more of a leading commissioner because I've led the organization through the work before the commission was created. But I just sit as one of the 100 commissioners.
So it's really more as much a coalition as it is a commission, or the commission is a coalition.
Yes, the commission is a coalition.
Okay, so then
There was a question in the chat. Megan asked, what tactics have any of you all seen that are most effective in getting younger people 20 to 35 to participate?
So for me, that's my major focus. So I teach a class every Wednesday, so this morning, for the summer. And the young people and I are creating a back to school event based around the reparations movement. So involving them in leadership has been very effective. I've done multiple trainings with young people. I'm an educator. I taught for 15 years. So I actually love working with young people more than I like working with adults, because their unbridled energy is just impeccable. And then also founder for the organization is 24. So elevating young people into leadership instead of being like, oh, you're just a young person and we're just going to listen to you wherever, has seen as ineffective in organizing. And I've been an organizer for over 20 years. But also like creating things like the zine that are visually appealing. And also having events that you incorporate like visual arts and poetry is really effective as well.
Thank you.
What you're actually doing is building from where you are.
And building leadership through it.
Yeah. So are these young people who are in your classes or who are a part of the hub?
So they're going to be considered the co-producers of the Back to School Heritage Hub. So there's 11 of them, ages 14 to 25. And we meet every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m.
Is that like a day camp?
So it's a part of it's a partnership with an organization called Transformative Culture Project.
Uh-huh.
The Transformative Culture Project is they have a program called Beyond Creative, where they give young people the platform to sort of tell their own stories through visual arts, videography, photography, and music production.
Nice, baby. You like a slate. I'm the one that turned 50 years old.
Gloria, you need to mute.
Hey.
Gloria, you need to mute. Thank you. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Aziza.
I think, yeah. So just like that's what Transformative Culture Project does. So Transformative Culture Project, they're doing other things throughout the week. So they're taking photos, they're learning videography, photography, and music production, and then they meet with me once a week. And each day that we meet, we're building towards our event. So we're planning the event in our meetings. And they'll use that whatever they create during the summer as part of that event as well.
So do you all talk about how they take that back to school and how they expand their numbers in the school environment?
I haven't, but I have been working with that group. No, I did meet with a group of students at a middle school, and we did have that conversation. So that's where I brought the 4 foot tall zine images, and we talked about like, so how do we make this interesting for your peers? They also got the zine, and they were tasked to go back to their family members and work through the zine. And they were really engaged and interactive, and the school wants me to come back. So I'll probably do more sessions with those young people throughout next school year. But right now we're focusing on like building those solid models and then building the capacity.
And that all of that happened as a result of your relationship with the teachers and the directors at those various programs.
There, but because of my relationships with the teachers, and well, I have a relationship with the principal of the school, and they can see the work that I'm doing, so they ask for it. And I volunteer. Most of this is me volunteering my time, and I love it. And I just so that to build the base for Repair America Collective, and so that the base is solid for the co-director who's 24, creating in those relationships or merging those relationships and creating solid programs for the tools that we have are important.
Megan, did you have other questions? Is there a way for me to directly share the full zine? Yes. The full zine will be reproduced as a part of our larger local program. Megan is a college student, so my question would be, you're saying, I think my concern is just how to be of assistance without, I lost that one. She's communicating in the chat.
Without overstepping, because she's Ghanaian American.
Well, that's a part of the beauty of the objective, is because even though, first of all, is that the issue of reparations is a global issue. And there is quite an interactive international movement that is going on. In fact, there's a conference to be held in Ghana this month where people from all over the world will be meeting in Ghana talking about reparations due as a result of colonization, that's due as a result of land theft, that's due as a result of, as well as of slavery. So in 2000, the World Conference Against Racism established the grounds for reparations: colonization, slavery, apartheid, genocide as crimes against humanity without statute of limitations. So while we appreciate and respect your deference to Africans in North America or Africans in the United States, as we work out what is the definition of reparations for us, there is a consideration of reparations, global reparations, and reparations for Africans in particular. And the fact of the matter is the process isn't any different. And that's why the 5 points that the United Nations use as guidelines are so useful. It's the definition and the application of those guidelines that becomes particular and based on the local or national experience. And that's, in my mind, the beauty of their zine. That's why I've held it up, because we have so many who presume to tell us what reparations are, in the sense of what it is that we should be demanding, or what we should be saying, or what we should be doing, which is just as disrespectful to Black people as it when it's done by Black people, as it is when it's done by white people. A part of the process of reparations is self-determination. And unless and until we respect each other's right of self-determination, institutionalize it, and create that space where it occurs and it materializes, institutionalizes, and is applied, then we are as violative of one another as the process or experiences that we decry. So we welcome your participation as a Ghanaian, Megan, and it brings another dimension, because it helps, one, for us to be able to connect the dots, to see the nature and function of the global system of white supremacy. It also helps us to see what we, when we're talking about, and we have to talk about restoring us to our African selves. What does that mean? And how does that compare with what it means to be an African today, as opposed to the African, the free and competent sovereign Africans that we were when we were captured and placed into bondage? So don't ever be silenced by the fact that you are continental African, as opposed to, as Aziza puts it, a freedman, or others, new Africans, or Africans in North America, or African Americans. And that takes us to the question of eligibility, and how do we define eligibility, under which and for what purposes. And that is a legitimate question and discussion that we have.
All right, I'd like to ask another question of Sister Aziza.
Before you do, let me ask Teju if you will put in the chat the information regarding the 8 o'clock commemoration for John Lewis, and the which is a virtual event, and that you all might want to tune into after this session. The focus including being on the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. Eva?
Yes, Sister Aziza, you mentioned meeting with the young people before an event. Could you share with us what kind of events you've worked on or set up with the young people?
So this one coming up is the first one. So we have young people that are in their 20s, but this one that we're going to do in the fall is the first one we have a concentrated group of 14 to 24 or 25-year-old. So in the past, our Heritage Hub, which is a 5-day pop-up, is in each day concentrated on one of our 4 pillars, including creativity. So learning, we had a day for learning, a day for sharing, a day for healing, and a day for celebrating. And then we had 1 day for creativity. And each day, in the whole space was co-produced by 6 different artists and designed to take folks through a journey to repair. So we had a legacy wall where there's history and legacy of different American freemen and inventions and all the beautiful legacy that we hold as a people. And then in another corner, we had a dream room or a dream space, so a quiet space, so where folks could actually just heal or be meditative and write in writing prompts or what they dreamed, what repair would be. We had an activation on our stage each evening. So the learning day, we showed a film. We showed The Big Payback, and then we had Q&A, and we also through every day we have a children's table. So you know how people usually like put children in a separate room or like separate. We had our children's space in the center of the space, so they were actually getting the learning as well, and also they felt like they were part of the event. And so on our sharing day, we had a fireside chat where we brought a historian, an archivist, and a professor and a woman that we call our griots that are from the neighborhood that have the history and the knowledge of what's happened. And then on our creating day, we just allow people to activate that space. And again, we had our zine printed for 4 pages on the wall as well as part of the activation. But we also allow for creativity. We had a live painting artist that was out. We had a dance like a workshop, and then we had a healing day. On that healing day, we had 3 practitioners come out because people go through, like, there's folks that came out every day and they learned something new or they experienced something new. And we wanted to make sure that we were also taking care of the, the body, mind, and spirit. So we had a healing day. So we had 3 healing practitioners come out, one that did sound bowl healing, one that did yoga and meditative healing, and the other one that did like body, like more like a dance healing. So like allowing for people to heal in different ways on that healing day. And we also had somebody that was doing juicing as well. So we also fed people each night. And then the last day we did was a celebration. So my daughter helps make candy bags for the event so that all the kids had little thing, like something for them. And she wanted to contribute. And then on the last day, the celebration day, is just a culmination of everything we did. And everybody came out, and we had poets that specifically spoke about reparations, because that's another way of, making sure that the young people are involved. Visual arts, performing arts keeps them involved, allowing them to perform, allowing them to tell their stories, has been, a way of being able to galvanize young people, because like Megan's asking a serious question, because in younger spaces, there's more of a debate. There's more of a war around this when it comes to the reparations movement. There's less young people that identify with the older ways of uniting, and it's actually causing division. So that question that she's asking is important, because there might be somebody that is not okay with that. So we created a space so that it makes it feel like everybody can learn and be included, but we do focus our work on the descendant-based model. So at this summer, each day they're learning about what the day we planned for the last Heritage Hub. So it could be that healing day, that learning day, that celebrating day, and they're coming up with their own iteration. So today we just discussed creativity. I said, what is important in the space that you feel like you can be creative in? And they give me a multitude of different things. And so each day we will focus the next session is focused on healing. And they've already talked about the things that they want. They want writing prompts, they want circles, they want yoga, they want meditation. And we got a small grant to activate and enact that event for them as well. So it's 11 of them. So I just allow them to tell me what they want, what they see, what will make them excited, because this is 2 weeks after their program's ending. And young people, if they're not excited about it, you will not see them after the program's done. And so making them feel like, no, not feel like, making them understand that this is their space and they're creating it. And we're just there to shepherd the process.
What is the interaction between the work that of the commission and the college campus, students on the college campuses?
There's just a lot of folks in their own silos. There's have been less activation in Boston of our college campuses, like the actual student body, which would be very powerful. But there's just been less of that. And I think that is important to be able to galvanize the college students while they're active. We've seen them protest. We see the power in their protests. But that hasn't really happened as much yet. You got professors, you got politicians, you got philanthropic leaders that are sort of taking leadership in this movement and less galvanizing people.
And the churches?
They're not that active. There has been an effort through the commission to galvanize the support of white churches. That has happened, but Black churches are not as involved.
So where would you say that the folks who attended the town halls and testified, who are they?
That's the community. Boston's it's a one-horse town with big city vibes. We're still a town. So word of mouth and the actual, like, I credit the constant conscious raising has credited to that. That was just a wide array of community members.
Well, when you say that it's the community, how then do you separate out the church members and college students, and or are they all present in that community because they live in the community? How do you separate them out and to say, well?
So the colleges are different. Church members are members of community, like they're active members of community. But the colleges are different because there's been strategic force to separate colleges from community in Boston. And like colleges are taking over neighborhoods. They're telling their students that neighborhoods aren't safe. Unless it's like an internship or they're doing research or it's like a thing that they're called to do from their university. And we have probably the most universities in one space. Mm-hmm. And when we talk about gentrification, we talk about all that, like that's the universities. So galvanizing the young people it's not like we're in the South. So it's not like we have HBCUs. These are white universities, major universities that, like, why would they make it easy for us to organize their students when most of them are like have like harm or have their hands in the pot when it comes to reparations?
Do not most of the colleges have Black student associations anymore?
I guess they're just in Boston, the Black Student Associations is diverse. So you have students that are not from America that don't really identify or understand the fight. And that's a larger population than Black Americans. You have a lot more Black Americans going down south to HBCUs in Boston. You don't have a lot of Black students. You know, it's not like a large percentage of students that I can identify even with this fight.
So actually that winds up being a justice area to the extent that indigenous, the descendants of enslaved persons are not enjoying the benefits of the city.
it's becoming scarce. It is becoming like harder to be like know who's even there. They might look like you, but it doesn't mean that they're there. We all know all skin folk and kinfolk, and it's a real thing. And it's becoming it's becoming more serious in spaces where there's a larger population of immigrants, and it's the reality. Like there's talk about like we've already lost cities, like we're never going to get those back, like, and the folks in those neighborhoods look like us, but you know capitalism, resource like grabbing, crabs in a barrel stuff have really divided us as people of color, if I guess that's the term. Because I grew up, we were all Black. So like the new terms have created a greater divide. Who's getting what? That thing that is real. And it is happening on the ground first. So you have whole neighborhoods that are being pushed out and filled with folks that look like us. And it's like we're still serving Black people, but it's like, like you're creating, a battle zone for us because we are scrapping for resources. Even in this movement, you think about the grassroots organizers, like get the lowest amount of funding than, maybe a university, somebody who is connected to a university or an institution. And that's the playing field we have to work with at the moment. But there's ways of we have to save ourselves to save each other in this moment. Like, and we don't have much time. Like with this election, we actually have we're in the right moment. Like Cam says, he always says it, like we're in the right moment for the ass. So we need to make those big, we need to make those large, we need to understand what we're owed, so that we can rebuild our nation, like our nations, like our as tribes.
Any other questions, comments? Proposals? I want to call you all's attention again to the virtual event at 8 o'clock in commemoration of John Lewis and the mobilization for the voting rights, John Lewis Voting Rights Act.
Sister Afia.
Yes, please.
Hi. Sherry Suttles. Yeah, I'm good. I'm an hour late because I'm trying to donate some Gullah Geechee Group ink paperwork to Avery Research tomorrow, College of Charleston. And I've been organizing 2009 to 2024 files, and I have to inventory it. But anyway, I sent you, I think I copied you, a series of documents, and then I got them combined into one, and I wanted to report that to the South Carolina Reparations Group tonight because we got 4 months left. And I don't know if you had a chance to look at it. Cam's familiar with this, Cam Howard. He had the Earn the Black Vote campaign, in January. He came here to South Carolina when Mr. Biden launched his big campaign in the Black churches, in the Black restaurants, reaching out. And so I love that phrase, but Cam said I couldn't use it, earn the Black vote, the way he had it. So I came up with my own version of earn the black vote, and that's what I shared with you, and I'll share it with anybody else interested. Educate, advocate, and I changed reparations to relief because we're in the state of South Carolina where Jim Clyburn is responsible for getting Joe Biden elected. He can't say he won't say the word reparations. You know, if his reputation here in South Carolina is 80 some years old now and keeps running re-election. So I just come up with a lot of different R's, but you put N for now and it still says earn, EARN. And we want President Joe Biden to pass by executive order HR 40, which my Detroit Congressman John Conyers introduced for 40 years. And then he died he died 5 years ago. He would have been 95 this year, May 16th. So I'm asking everybody that's on the reparations cause to take a look at this paperwork and just try. I'm getting ready to move back to Alabama, so I'm not even going to be in South Carolina to do this here, but I can work with you, you know. But we have to try to get a hold of Biden while he's in office. And I'm not averse, and Cam says he's not either, approaching Mr. Trump as well. As long as they're sitting in that office as president, then they have the chance to take this out of the hands of Congress. Cam did a very nice PowerPoint showing how close they came the last time Sheila Jackson Lee picked it up. And now she's got prostate cancer. But they had like 216 congressmen, including Conyers' office. Clyburn, they told me he signed it at that time. But you need like 217, you know, one half of the 400 and something. And so they start over again. Every 2 years, they have to start all over again. It's ridiculous. It's not going to happen in Congress. It may not happen with Biden or Trump, but I'm wanting to try in these last few months in commemoration of John Conyers, what would have been his 95th birthday, May 16th. Thank you for the opportunity to share this. And I can talk with you later.
When is his 95th birthday?
It would have been May 16th, 2024. And I had Sheila Jackson Lee's stuff already. Her name is Lily Coney. Cam knows her. She's the chief executive of Congresswoman's staff. And she sent me an email. I have it. She said, you can't get a congressional resolution at this stage, but she was going to put it in the statement. It's called a congressional record statement. You know, you can just verbally do it or written, and it's there. And it's like the same. In fact, I used Congressman John Lewis's commemoration as a format. They have the same thing, congressional record statement in honor of Congressman John Lewis. So I just said ditto for Conyers, but of course it mentions HR 40 in it, that we would, use that to commemorate him and try to get that bill passed, signed by the president. So Nkeshi Taifa, you know her, she encouraged me to try to do this. The lady in City of Detroit, she ended up getting something done with the Detroit Reparations Task Force because he's from Detroit. But she said she couldn't share it with me. I don't know why. I gave her the idea, I gave her the language to use, but I never did see the actual resolution that they approved, City of Detroit. So
it should be a public document.
Right, it should be. That's what I thought. It's a task force, City of Detroit. I'm from Detroit. I have cousins that live there, and I could track it down, but I'm just so busy with everything I'm always doing, trying to get a grant from a nonprofit and National Park Service contract, rather. And this move, I'm going back to Selma. I have family land there, Alabama, so we'll be there for the 60th bridge crossing. Another reason why I wanted to get on here today, to let y'all know I'll be right there helping to plan that. And I went this past year. This past March, Cam, Jamoke, my son Kamal, and we all walked across the bridge. It's the first time I had done it, even though I was there 10, 12 years ago in Alabama. So I hope this meeting went well, and I probably need to sign off again. The library closes at 8. I'm trying to get some more things scanned and before I donate them.
Well,
So,
the idea, of course, is the trans-pollination to share ideas. What are other groups doing? What is working in some places? Can it work here? How do we take advantage of the lessons that some of us have learned, even when it doesn't appear to be successful at first blush? So,
right. Well, I talked with, the last time you all were on the meeting, I missed that part too, and I asked Cam to update me. And he said, it's up to the local people now. He's put the message out and did a great survey that showed this executive order by Biden could help him get reelected. That was a couple of months ago. I think he had a professional survey done, and that was what they stated. Remember that he made that comment?
yeah.
So now we're at the local level, and so that's why I'm reaching out to everybody and anybody to take it and start. I was interested to hear Aziz's comment about the young people and how they're not with it. As you know, many of our young people are planning to vote for Donald Trump even, It's just amazing.
Well, it would be helpful if you would, young people that you're in touch with. I know that you're in touch with some young people there in
Yeah.
Charleston, to give me their contact information so that we can at least target them, and see what kind of responses we get. We're trying to do base building. We have folks that are anxious to be the quote unquote leadership, as opposed to fomenting and growing collective leadership, which is of course winding up being a point of tension. But that is the grant description that we gave. And so we look forward to the ingathering, as I say, of the willing for the purposes of creating a movement of the committed. And so the more people that we can, whose consciousness we can raise, to use Aziza's term, then the greater the likelihood of creating a representative, broad-based, indeed statewide body of participants and of leaders to define the coalition and to set its goals. So if you would share that with me, I'd be very happy. It would be very helpful.
Well, I'll give you the one name that I looked to help with this back in January. And unfortunately, we got a bad black mark for just associating with him. But he's a wonderful young man. I introduced him to Cam. Cam was very impressed. His name is Marcus McDonald. I'm glad this is being recorded because it was just traumatic for me, literally, personally. I took it very badly, but I had planned to have him come to this dinner Biden had. Remember, he launched the dinner, I told you. I put up $150 times 10 people, $1,500. Fortunately, a couple of people reimbursed me that $500 because it came out of my everything, Social Security, retirement. And we bought the tickets. And then we got there to the dinner at Columbia. You came that evening to the Parkland Baptist Church. Cam brought all of y'all by there. And then we went down to the the state fairgrounds, just where Mr. Trump was, similar place like that. And we were turned away. And the security guard said, "Well, you know Marcus McDonald, don't you?" And I said, "Yes, what of it?" well, then you know why you can't come into the dinner. I said, excuse me? He's a disruptor. I said, or what? This is the most
Oh,
quiet
that
stuff. Remember that?
that was he had challenged
Yeah.
the pro-Palestinian action. He had
Yes,
participated
yes.
in the
He had done
pro-Palestinian.
that earlier in the day. They wouldn't let him
Yeah,
at 2 weeks earlier. They wouldn't let him at Mother
yeah.
Emanuel Church. I didn't know this side of this man, but more importantly, I replaced him. The Charles County Democratic Party told me they were not going to let him in. So I
And
brought a man from Columbia University days, way back we go. He's like my age, and I'm 77 tomorrow, and he's like 79, okay? He's not going to be disruptive. He took a Greyhound bus all the way from New York City. I don't want to take up all your time. But this man, I love him to death. He's 27. He's been to Ghana and he's bachelor's. He's got parents, aging parents in Colombia. And he runs our Low Country Black Network. That's how I know him. He's the moderator of a group that we have every month. I got off the group. I've been to other things that he's done. But anyway, he's got the college, all the College of Charleston, the young people. He had a big meeting with them a few weeks ago. And he's the only person I know that has direct contact with the youth in this state, not only because he was founding chairman of Black Lives Matter. He was
Okay.
there. So
and
I will give you his name. Excuse me.
Yes,
sorry,
please, please.
I'll
young
give you his name.
organizers also have to be protected because you see
Yeah.
what's happening is we're being blackballed. I've been like, there's things that, behind closed doors, but people think I'm in my 20s. I'm 40. So I'm always told what's being said because I have peers that are in public office that are, and to create a space that is protected for these young people is so important because
Well, yeah, go ahead.
because it's easy to replace us with a non-disruptor, but how else is things going to get moved? And there needs to be a way of guidance. There has been a breakdown of education and organizing. So you have a group of young people that have not been fully educated in organizing or even historically educated in how we organize as a people. And so that is the thing. That's the sort of thing that I focus on. It's like, okay, you have that fire. How do we channel that fire to be, productive, and not put out that fire, at all, because putting out that fire just creates more docile human beings. And that's why reparations, that's a reason why we have not had radical movement in a long time.
That's right. Well, I told everybody what hurt me the most was it was my organization, Gullah Geechee Group Inc. We bought the table that I just told you I'm getting ready to donate historic files. And I said to the group, we were going into the parking lot, Cam will tell you. I said, what group is he talking about? What, the five of us at the door. And I finally realized it was our group. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. Gullah Geechee Group, everybody knows Gullah Geechee culture here. This is a historic culture. We do film festivals. We have basculators. Now, they want to talk about a disruptor. That's Sherry Suttles. I've got a history of being disruptive, as you say, when I was young, when I was this young man's age. Even before that, as I said, I brought this guy from college. So I appreciate that. And Marcus came on a subsequent meeting and he confessed, he probably does get out of hand. He was at a city council meeting where he was yelling and screaming. I've never seen this boy do this young man. But one of the other ladies on our group, she said, yes, he was not speaking appropriately. So I'm glad you said that, Aziza. And maybe with Afia, you all could reach out to him and help him structure his presentation better, because he's very smart. He's on target. And the Palestinian thing wasn't really even that big of an issue at that time, just started to be larger picture in January when we were there. Okay, I keep saying no more. I'm like Columbo, one more thing.
Okay. Well, you won't have to worry about that. I'm going to ask Aziza to give us some closing remarks, and then we'll wrap up.
Great. Thanks again.
Closing remarks.
I am consistently energized by meeting with any group of folks from around the nation. So this is energizing, this space, because it really fuels the work of that's happening right now. Like we're really sitting, amongst our elders and on the shoulders of elders that paved a path for us to actually win right now. So I'm so motivated. I see it. I see it happening. And I'm excited to, help in any way around strategy. Anytime we build anything new, sharing that as well. But thank you, Mama Fia, for including me.
Thank you. And thank you for the wonderful zine that you all created. And we look forward to reproducing it and sharing it throughout our effort to build consciousness here in South Carolina. Is there anyone else who has a closing comment? Then I will thank you all for attending and for participating, because it's your presence that drives this process. And we look forward to your fuller engagement. You're assuming responsibility for building the coalition and bringing with you to the next meeting at least one other person that you've talked to about reparations and who are interested in learning more about it and ultimately to working towards obtaining them. So if all hearts and minds are clear, then we'll bring this meeting to a close, and you will receive a notice for the next meeting. This meeting will be posted on the South Carolina Reparations Coalition YouTube channel for your review and sharing with others. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.